I have for a long time been in love with the Unix systems. It all started in 2007 when my father got his iMac. It was my first experience with a Unix system, and man, did I fall in love. It was love at first sight. And by the time I was 13 years old, I got my first MacBook. And I loved it. It was the best computer I've ever had. By the time I got my MacBook, I had started learning to program, mainly HTML and PHP and other web dev. And I found the built-in Apache and PHP system, and everything just kind of went off. A few years later, I stumbled across Ray Wenderlich iOS Programming Apprentice, I think the ebook was named. And I started programming in Objective-C for iPhone and Mac. It felt natural. I felt at home. Fast forward a couple of years, the high school I went to recommended an HP computer, which I got. And man, I did not like it. It was the worst. I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel comfortable. I've never been into Windows at all. I wouldn't say I was in agony, but it wasn't pleasant either. So I began looking at Linux. I looked at a few distros just to see what was there. Looking at YouTube videos about Linux, and I decided that KDE was my desktop environment. And then I found out about KDE Neon, an Ubuntu-based Linux distro made by the KDE Foundation. And I felt at home again. But something was quite off. KDE Neon wasn't the distro for me. So I decided to go research some more and found myself at Arch Linux. But once I got to Linux, a Unix-based system, I finally felt at home again. So I use Linux because it's a Unix-based system. And I can see the roots from my macOS days. I use Linux because it's familiar.